told nobody this, but I put on a wig one time, right?
Yo.
And so when I put on the wig, because I was trying to get into this other character, so I put on the wig, I looked in the mirror and I went, oh my God, and I was attracted to me.
Yo.
So I took the
Ray
wig
is
off real
the
fast.
key.
And I went, what just happened?
He was in character.
I didn't know what happened, but I was
It's
like,
true though.
because I had it on and I went like that because it was in my eye. So I went like that and I took it off because I was attracted to me.
Yo.
And I love me, but I didn't know I loved me like that. Like, I look good. So I never did it again.
Okay, I'm so happy that you shared that.
I don't know why, but I felt like it's good to just be vulnerable here. But yeah, that's what happened to me.
This is a safe space.
So apparently, this sucker Ray J announces wild new transgender reality show, The Girls Club. Watch trailer. And we're going to watch that in a quick second. It's absolutely insane. Ray J and his manager, Whack 100, have released the trailer for their new reality TV show, The Girls Club, which centers on transgender women, mostly blah, fighting each other and wilding out. Typical ratchet reality TV. The show is going to air on Whack 100's new streaming platform. I didn't know he had a streaming platform, Tronix Network. Whack said during one scene, the transgenders were jumped by the gays, which is hilarious in a sense of, I remember the Dave Chappelle comedy special, the one where he talked heavily about trans issues, how when he described it, apparently those within the LGBTQ community, they fight with each other depending upon if they're gay or lesbian or trans. Apparently they all just don't get along, which was news to me. I had no idea. Resulting in 17 shots. They trying to kill people being emptied into the parking lot, mixing the essence of ratchet and debauchery and sprinkling on top mental health issues is the perfect combination of ratchet reality TV madness. But let's take a look at the clip.
They walking around this motherfucking this house with this security guard like she's some motherfucker, like she's Donald Trump, bitch. You're not one of the girls. You're not one of the girls. You act like a nigga.
This is so crazy. You're combining the emotionality of women with the strength and the confrontational ability of men. That's essentially what's happening.
What are you talking about, bitch? This your friend, fuck when we walk in the motherfucking door, bitch.
Yo, everybody load up around here.
All right, so I actually can't show the rest of this because legitimately for the next 45 seconds of this clip, they are fighting. Not verbally fighting, but straight up assaulting one another. Jesus, please send the asteroid. At this point of the conversation, I already know what you're thinking. Thanos was right. Nevertheless, here is a promo shot of all of the trans people involved in the show. Take note of this person right here, because this person joined Ray J to sit down and have a conversation with Candace Owens through a couple of topics, but none other than to debate if trans people have a mental disorder.
All right, guys, welcome to a special episode of Candace. I'm excited for this conversation, or at least to bring this conversation. So I'll just dive right into telling you the background of it. I recently appeared on Don Lemon, and some clips were taken out of that conversation I had with him, particularly a portion when he was speaking to me about transgenderism. And I explained to him my perspective on transgenderism, that it is a mental disorder. Shortly thereafter, Ray J, familiar with Ray J, he is a man of many talents. He's a singer, a performer, an actor, an entrepreneur, a business owner, messaged me on Instagram and said, Candace, I don't feel, and I'm summing up here, I don't feel that you have the full story. I would love to have a conversation and introduce you to someone who may be able to provide you a wider perspective. And I said, let's do it.
Now I'm skipping forward about an hour into the conversation. I'll leave a link to it down in the description box down below so you can catch the entire video. But at this point of the conversation, Candace brings up Rachel Dolezal, who made essentially a living convincing people that she was black, but she came from two white-ass parents. But essentially, Candace is making the analogy that as Rachel could cosplay as a black woman, trans people cosplay the gender that they are not.
Comment on it. So Rachel Dolezal, I want to go back to that because this is a very important point, and I do feel you're pedaling past because you realize this. It's
I know who
this
that
is
I don't know.
This is how.
Back
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Let's say any individual.
Yeah.
This is an individual who is committed and living as a black person when in fact they were born with parents that are whiter than
Yeah.
snow.
So nobody was black.
No, nobody, not
seen
even
something
a
similar,
drop
I think, on
of,
yeah.
not even like
Ancestry didn't say
I'm
nowhere
pretty sure
in.
I've seen this
didn't
on like
even know,
Botched or something.
a Spanish song. Probably never got listened to a Spanish song. It was not even a drop.
I know among the lines of what
Yes.
you're talking about, because
Okay.
I think I've seen
You
it on Botched
instantly
or whatever.
said,
Yeah.
instantly said,
Yeah.
and have held to the point that
Yes.
Rachel Dolezal is not a
Yes.
black person. So if Rachel Dolezal is not a black person but believes that she is a black person on the inside, what is Rachel Dolezal suffering from?
So for me personally, like I will say once again, because I don't know her story, but based on what you're telling me, I will go back to the point every time that what it sounds like is that she's costuming. That's what it is to me. If Rachel believes she's black, that's not only not my place to comment on. I don't know that girl, so it doesn't bother me. But if someone doesn't believe in what she's doing is right, if it's publicized or whatever, that's their opinion. But do I think that she has a mental disorder? My answer is, who am I to even comment on that?
Yeah,
because
like,
I'm
I
not a
think that-
psychologist.
Let me just
I
finish.
have no
with this.
idea.
Okay. I agree with you about Rachel
Yeah.
Dolezal. She is costuming.
Right.
But does she have a mental disorder?
Yeah.
If you are living your life as something that you are not, and you believe inside of you that you are this,
Right.
she's not hurting anybody, but she is suffering from a mental disorder.
Now,
okay,
I
and now
know
this is
somebody
where
that's suffering from-
things get tricky. So you and Rachel Dolezal are actually embodying the exact same thing, right? Both
No.
of you believe.
I was like,
ra-
please
it's
don't
ra-
say
it's race
Candace.
and gender
Please
and
don't
gender.
put me in that box.
Race
But,
and
but
gender.
that
Come
anybody
on.
watching this is going, this is a very valid
Yeah.
point. Both
But I
of you
don't think it's
believe that you are
valid.
something that you are not, and you have gone through extremities to live as something that you
but
are not.
that's a
You're not,
costume.
but
I
this
think-
is a costume, and that's my point. What everything you
Trans
are
is not a
saying to
costume.
Rachel Dolezal, you could say to yourself.
But
I don't think
Right?
so.
Rachel
because-
Dolezal could share a story. Let me just get this out. Rachel Dolezal could share a story and say, you know, from the time I was a kid when I was 4, my mom looked down at me and said that you were showing characteristics of being black. And then when I was in school, everyone was like, Rachel, kind of like, you know, one of the
But she
black
was kind of
people.
thick too, right?
Yeah, Rachel was
was.
kind of thick.
That's what I'm saying. I remember.
I absolutely agree with everything Candace is saying in this clip right here. Perhaps I wouldn't go as far as to call Rachel Dolezal having a mental disorder, because I am not a clinician. I am not a psychiatrist, right? I can say what she's doing is goddamn weird, but there are people that will do things for some type of benefit. Like, let's keep it a buck. Would it not help you on the majority of your applications if you were able to identify with some type of DEI something? Absolutely. So perhaps outside of a mental disorder, could she be scamming? Yes, she absolutely could have. Would that prioritize mental disorder? Who knows? But Candace's comparison of the costuming is spot on. And I would argue that people that do this I am more inclined to believe that there's a mental disorder there, because I just don't see the benefit as much as I see a Rachel Dolezal claiming to be black. Unless they're trying to get on some crazy ass Ray J reality show. Let's keep going.
No, I
And
do.
the
I
whole
like
thing
like
was
so I'm like, okay.
hey, you gotta,
No, I'm
you
saying.
seem like a black girl.
I
And then
remember- I
next
know
thing you
Rachel.
know, Rachel at 17 years old was going to Christian school and was like, you know what? I'm ready to do the first thing. And so Rachel went and got her hair cornrowed.
So she said she was mixed.
She got her hair cornrowed.
She just
She said
didn't
she was
like
mixed?
No,
me.
and then she started wearing the makeup, getting tanned, all this stuff. And then next thing you know, Rachel Dolezal fully believed.
Right.
And so I'm out here like, justice for Rachel Dolezal, because if you're out here saying that you're a woman, then Rachel Dolezal has every right to be a black person. And the reason why Rachel Dolezal, that case study makes you uncomfortable is because it hits the truth. It hits an objective reality, which is that you cannot just say because you're willing to get surgery or because you're willing to do your hair a certain way or that you're willing to wear makeup that you are something that you're not. Now, that said, I don't have an issue. Like, there's nothing that you're doing. And I think that this is where, like, it gets mixed up, where people pretend there's some attack happening or we're saying that, you know, you need to be put into camps. No, I think actually you're a very nice
You can do what you
person.
want.
You're just not a woman and you're never going to be a woman.
And
but
I know that.
Right, exactly.
And that's why I wanted
And
to
so-
make
but-
that
but-
point. But people
yeah.
weaponize that. See, people love being like, you're not a woman. And I'm like, yeah, cool, great point. I agree.
Okay.
And then where do they go? Because see, they're weaponizing it because they want to put us down. Like, you're not a real girl. You never will be. Yeah, I'm aware. I have a mother and 3 sisters. Like, I'm well aware.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. And
Right,
I
and
love
that's
the
all
way
we're
I am.
asking, and that's
And
why
even
I
with
think
Rachel, to go back to your point, if Rachel wants to be that way, go ahead, girl, get your life.
That's what I'm saying.
But see, so it's not me being contradictory
Right, but it
because
would be-
the question is yes, I feel she's costumey, but girl, get your life. If you want to do that, do it. But it always comes back to us being delusional, but we're not. We know we're not biological women.
Telling Rachel Dolezal to go on, girl, get your life, to live in a state of delusion while also not calling herself delusional is ridiculous.
So it's scored.
And then see, now we
It's
can
the
all be
twisted
friends. And we
reality.
can all go out and
I
you
want
know
to
what
ask
I mean?
you a
And-
question because I actually find your energy like, you know, like I feel like you're a strong woman, you're wise, you're intellectual, and I actually get good energy off you. I'm like an energy kind of gal, and I want to ask you, I know it's only been a short time, but us conversing and, you know, I can tell you're listening when I'm talking about my upbringing and stuff. Do you see me as like a woman, a trans woman and stuff, or do you see me as like he and like a costume?
I think that you're wearing a costume.
Okay.
And
do you see me as a boy, or do you see me
woman?
as a trans woman?
I mean, I just,
Or do you think I'm a feminine boy?
I just think that we've adopted these words. I think that you have gender dysphoria.
Right.
You feel happier in this.
I'm more meaning physicality, because obviously you've listened.
Any person, I could get Ray J. I mean, makeup.
Oh, no way, right?
No, but I'm saying, like, you know, you could. Have you seen X-Men? I mean, Charlize Theron,
But I'm more
in makeup, you can present as a
physicality. But even without makeup, like I can get photos and sent to you with me with no makeup, no editing, whatever. I'm more mean like in the sense, because this is also a huge topic that, and in the trans community, we call it being real or being passable. Those are just like street languages. And you know, it doubles back to the fact that I don't sit on a couch at a restaurant or at a bus stop or whatever and be like trans or whatever. I actually pass as a biological female. So then it becomes my responsibility to every day educate people that I am trans. And that's usually out of respect, because I like to be honest with men. I don't like to, you know, deceive anyone or lie or whatever. But my thing is if we were having a conversation and it wasn't about this and we were just vibing, or if I went to your church and stuff, like, you're not looking at me as like a boy or like Ray and glam.
Well, to be fair, I since I knew you were coming here, I feel like it's not a fair question to ask because, but to be clear, there are tons of, especially today, you could literally look at somebody on the internet and never know that they lived as the opposite sex.
Yeah.
And that's or that they were born as the sex that they're not presenting, rather, is the better way to say it. But to me, I don't know, like for me, I think that it's just dishonesty. Do you know what I mean?
If you're not being honest.
If you're not being
Like
honest.
when I
but if you are like me.
Like one time, and I ain't never told nobody this, but I put on a wig one time, right?
Yo.
And so when I put on the wig, because I was trying to get into this other character.
I'm sorry, Candace is so unintentionally funny.
When I
Honest,
like one time, and I ain't never told nobody this, but I put on a wig one time, right?
Yo.
And so when I put on the wig, because I was trying to get into this other character, so I put on the wig, I looked in the mirror and I went, oh my God, and I was attracted to me.
Yo.
So I took the
Ray
wig off
is
the
a
back,
key.
and I went, what just happened?
Candace not trying to laugh here is about the best thing out of this video.
He was in character.
I didn't know what happened, but I was
It's
like,
true though.
because I had it on and I went like that because it was in my eye. So I went like that and I took it off because I was attracted to me.
Yo.
And I love me, but I didn't know I loved me like that. Like, I look good. So I never did it again.
Okay, I'm so happy that you shared that.
I don't know why, but I felt like it's good to just be vulnerable here. But yeah, that's what happened to me.
This is a safe space.
Yeah, thank you.
And I want to
make a gorgeous woman.
You would make a gorgeous woman.
No, I just liked me. I was like, damn. And then I went, oh, that's me.
Yeah. I think one of the things that when conservatives are speaking with people on this issue and people think that it's so hardcore, and some of the, I guess, belligerence that I think people are sensing, and there is a belligerence there, and the belligerence is coming from the fact that what used to be a very small minority of people who were suffering from gender dysphoria has now been mainstreamed, and it's become a social contagion. And I feel particularly responsive to it because I did sit down with a person named Brianna. I don't know if you had time to watch this interview that I did. Brianna is still identifies as transgender.
Right.
He was very kind. He and I sat down, and he basically reached out to me because he, like you, decided to go through with the procedure. Things went very wrong.
Oh,
Brianna Ivy.
It went wrong.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, Brianna realized he was just a gay guy and basically fell into the trap of seeing people online, seeing these shows that were produced who made them think it was going to be this easy thing and you were going to be happier on the other side when the majority of the people actually aren't. We know for a fact that suicide rates increase after transitioning, which they don't share. And so it feels to me, and especially, and I can ask this to you, Ray J, because you're presenting a show here and you're going to contribute to this culture of people thinking, just like Brianna Ivy did, that this is just, oh, this is a decision, it's going to be super easy, and this is just actually who you are, and this is who you were born, and this is who you can be. And that, to me, is just such a demonstrable lie, and it's a lie that's hurting children. You know, children are wanting to be like Ray J and thinking that this is cool, and I'm going to hang out with some trans people and it's going to be dope, and they're having their entire lives. Like, that was the only time I almost cried on my show, was when Brianna was just boohoo crying, sharing how deformed he is, how he wished he had heard voices like mine saying, like, you need to wait because you are going down a path and you're paying attention to culture, which is just trying to sell you the newest cigarette.
Listen to your heart, right? Yeah. And listen to the education that, like, hopefully now we can provide. We have the gay agency, we have Gay RPR, I have Ray Pride, which is a C3. And I think we have the Girls Club. And I think it's just having these conversations where people who are straight and people who are gay, people who are trans, they could all just sit down and just talk it through, right?
I really wonder how the majority of the trans community really feels about, you know, him leveraging something about them to make money off of it. Because he's speaking about it here as if he is in support of, but you're also going to provide a platform that incentivizes debauchery. I don't think it helps anybody suffering with gender dysmorphia, especially if they're trying to say that they don't have a mental illness. So I'm not viewing Ray J here as trying to stand up for some cause, as opposed to him being indoctrinated into Holly weird and then exploiting it for some cash. Let's go.
As you watch that, you start to understand and get educated on a lot of different things. And I think that's the most important, is being able to have these conversations with different people who have different opinions and different perspectives on life, coming together, and we're able to have this debate and these understandings. And even if the first 2 or 3 debates don't go right, the 5th one might. You know, the sixth or 7th one might, as long as we give each other time, because everybody's here now. Everybody's strong.
A whole lot of nothing.
The communities are strong, you know. The LGBTQ is extremely strong, and they're supportive, and they're down to support people who are willing to understand. Same with the straights. And I say the straights now because I've been, right? It's the, you know, the straights, right? And, you know, and that's just because I've been in both worlds a lot lately. And I feel good. I feel good that we're all able to talk. I feel good that we're able to sit and have this debate without it going way to the left or way to the right.
Right.
And I think we need more of this.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, and I wanted to double on his point as well, because Ray doesn't even understand sometimes, as, you know, he's the CEO of Tronics and Ray's just going to be Ray, but he doesn't understand the power and impact in a positive way he has on us, because we're able to be very hands-on with this network and show, and we're able to come around and have access to someone like Ray that's a producer that most people in cast just do it and get turfed, or, you know, it's like show's over, see you later. We've been able, after the show has wrapped, to be able to have intense, personal, private, whatever conversations with Ray and really talk about real things. Like,
my experiences, I could believe.
Yeah, like we talk about everything.
We have some loud things that I think we can continue to elaborate on.
Yeah. And I wanted
we all grow together.
Yeah, and I wanted to make a point as well that we don't sit there and get told what we want to hear. Some of these conversations are hard to have. There might be disagreements. Sometimes people, not saying Ray, but might say something offensive, so it's not them just sitting in the room telling us trans girls what we want to hear.
You know, and I had a lot of things that...
It's growth.
I had things that had happened to me that shocked me and that y'all helped guide me through, that we can elaborate on later, because it's another. And I don't want to go too viral. But you know, but you know, it is always good to be able to talk and disagree, agree, and it's not intensely uncomfortable, but it's fun. Right. And I think there's just a level of respect, and you having us on today just speaks volumes on,
I think so,
like,
too.
you know, you and what you represent and how you given us the opportunity to talk and debate and get an understanding, because a lot of people, you know, listen to you. A lot of people are supportive of the trans community, the gay community, and together bridging the gap, at least just for mutual understanding, and respect from all sides is really strong.
Yeah, and I always think being respectful is super important, and I'm grateful that you guys respect that, you know, my opinions haven't changed on the issue. And one of the biggest reasons which I wanted to communicate to you from the conservative community and why we feel like we have to be so strong on
the conservative community, meaning the straight community, or just the conservative community?
Politically conservative. And the reason why this matters so much, especially deeply for those of us who have kids and see what's happening in the school system, is because at the moment that you say that there is no objective reality, everything becomes possible. And some people hear that and they're like, yay, Disney World, everything becomes possible. But the reality is that if you say there's no such thing as a male and there's no such thing as a female, and anybody can decide what they are when they want. They can say, I'm a different race, I'm transracial, you know, I'm transsexual, I'm transgendered. Then eventually and very quickly, we will wind up at people saying that, and there have been examples of this, people saying that they're actually a different age. So you have a 60-year-old man, but it's not funny because this is real. But this is real. You have a 60-year-old man who is saying that he self-identifies as a 13-year-old, and these people go and they commit acts of pedophilia. This has happened, right?
The more that I see content such as that trans opening ceremony at the Olympics, which is being broadcasted towards kids, the more that I see people dressed in drag walking into children's classrooms and talking about LGBTQ rights, the more upset that I get about this shit, because it's like, as an adult, make your decision. Do what you're doing in the confines and the safety and the privacy of your own home. But at the point that you begin to indoctrinate children with this unrealistic shit is the moment that I have a problem with it. And our minds are malleable, especially as children. I mean, shit, if you told a child his entire life, hey, listen, there's no such thing as gravity and you can fly. If you do it enough times, you are the chosen person. All you got to do is just hurl yourself up of the highest cliff, and trust me. And you have a ton of people around and the media around him all tells him gravity ain't real, you can fly. Then that person or that child, especially if it's a child, may very well believe you. That's why it's so important to have rules, procedures, and boundaries, because they are antithetical to unrealistic.
And they have places where they go and be babies and they like
exactly.
the bottle.
And this is real. So this is all going to get added onto the LGBT. I don't view gay.
I don't want
that attached to our community.
But you say you don't want that.
I want to make that statement that people like that, because I've heard that in different statements. And once again, it's like crazy that as a trans person under the umbrella, I'm just lumped with these people.
But maybe that's their perception.
But that's the whole point.
Their perception of life.
And I get that you don't identify as that, but it is, ideologically speaking, the same thing if we don't say that there is an objective reality. It would actually be better if a trans person said, I accept this is actually a mental disorder. I don't want to say to people, because by the way, people have other mental disorders. Bipolar. I got people have this.
That's why
schizophrenia.
Is there another word? Is there another word besides mental disorder?
But because it is okay, because this is, but I don't think this is triggering. I don't know why suddenly people are so triggered by this. It's your mental, and something is out of order.
But it's because it's not real, Ken.
But some people don't like to eat food because they want to be.
Just give me 1 second. Let me just get through this, okay? It is, right? So there can be people, that's right, who have body dysmorphia. That is a mental disorder. You have people who are anorexic. I used to have anorexia. I had a mental disorder, okay? I was tiny, and I was doing it as a control mechanism. I was very happy. In fact, the only way to actually get better was to accept that this is a mental disorder, okay? I don't have an issue with that term. I don't think it's a problem, because at varying points in people's lives, your mental can get out of order. The issue when you don't acknowledge that it is a mental disorder and you instead just insist that like this is a normal thing and people are born this way, means it becomes impossible to attack that person. Ideologically speaking, if you start making laws and saying this is real, then that guy who says I'm 63 years old and I believe that I am 12 on the inside. I never grew up. This is who I am. Peter Pan, send me to Neverland. And he molests another girl, and he goes into the courtroom and he says, no, I'm 13. Objective reality is what I feel, right? It's how I feel on the inside. And I actually, Your Honor, feel that I'm actually 16.
That's against the law.
Now, here's the question. Here's the question.
But this is why we have to be a guard, and I'm speaking now on behalf of conservatives. We have to be a guard, and we have to say objective reality exists, okay? Objectively speaking, bipolar, it's a disorder. Anorexia, it's a mental disorder. Transgenderism, dysmorphia is a mental disorder. These are all mental disorders, right? And
anorexia is a mental disorder, being trans is not a mental disorder. So we have to stick to the facts. It is not anorexia.
So if someone
and
believes they're
schizophrenia
fat
is
and actually they're skinny, you say you have a mental disorder.
I got
right?
a good question.
But you're saying that you are a male, you believe you're a woman, and that's not a mental disorder.
I'm just
Right.
being specific. Trans and anorexia, mental disorder and not mental disorder. The APA, you only have to ask the APA. These are trained psychiatrists.
I think Candace needs to ask, please explain the difference between body dysmorphia and gender dysmorphia as it refers to a mental illness. Hopefully Candace holds the line right there.
And I understand that conservatives will want to say that's to fill an objective, but at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Well, they just updated
we're not
that
a mental
manual
disorder.
in the last couple of years. Like,
Yes, exactly,
it was
because
literally
it was
a mental disorder.
But it was misinformation, and conservatives in the past.
And someday they'll update that same manual and they will say that minor attracted people, which is a term that they're tossing around now because they're saying it's offensive to call them pedophiles, and we should instead call them minor attracted people. Someday they're going to push to update the manual then, which is why I insist on being a guard against that.
And
there
that's
is
the legal
objective
behavior,
reality.
and I don't want that attached to anything to, what LGBTQ.
How do you feel about that? Talking about people saying I identify as a 12-year-old.
Damn, my hand was up for so long, I forgot what I was gonna say. Well, I want to say, damn, I had something good I wanted to say. I feel like I want to know this. This is a good question. How many people in the world are suffering from some kind of mental disorder? Is it majority of the world? Is it 89%, 93%, 43%, 2%, right? That's how we'll understand where we all are mentally, right? Because sometimes you'll have it this phase and you'll get out of it this phase, right? Like you said, you had a phase you went through and now you're out of it, right?
Why does it matter?
How many people in the world are statistically suffering from a mental disorder? Because I think that's how we'll respect the word mental disorder as opposed to your perspective in life.
It just means that your mental is out of whack.
But how many people in this world are going through that? I mean, we probably won't be able to figure it out now. But that's a very good question because that will give us a good scope on people's perception of what a mental disorder is.
So essentially he's saying don't label it a mental disorder because the term or the phrase mental disorder makes us feel bad, but let's try to understand how many people have a mental disorder, because if it's the majority of people, then okay, you might be able to refer to us as that because maybe it's not as bad as what I previously perceived it to be, which, I think is a smooth brain way to try to attack this argument after Candace had out-logicked them multitude of times before. Anyway, guys, I'm